We do it live. We do it live. Hello. I hope we don't get this video taken down for doing that.
If they do, that'd be a tragedy.
That would be.
Because that's just good fun.
How's it going, folks? Time for another edition of Rebel Nerd Radio. This is episode number 213. And tonight, we will be talking about the wild ride that was Andor Season 2, Episode 7, 8, and 9. Wild ride.
Wild ride, my pilot.
But before we get that, we got to get all our other stuff out of the way. So what did you do this week? Anything interesting?
Let's see here. Graduation parties. We had a lot of people, a lot of family members graduated, so that was kind of cool. It was, let's see. No, actually, it was kind of a boring week, which was nice. We didn't have a whole lot scheduled or planned, which is kind of good because things have been kind of chaos lately. So that's a good thing. We were supposed to start Cyberpunk on Thursday, so unfortunately, I was detained at work and I was not able to make it. So we could not start.
To start the zero session.
We were supposed to start our zero session so we could lead into our new Cyberpunk campaign that we were going to be doing. And unfortunately, like I said, I was detained at work. But no, other than that, it's been kind of a lazy week. We've been kind of chilling, and I've been getting different things in from like May the 4th. All the May the 4th specials is kind of cool. I got a new lightsaber all constructed and built and ready to go, and
Nice.
yeah, and yeah. So other than that, and watched Andor. This little TV show that we've been kind of talking about.
Yeah, I've heard about that show.
I've heard about that show. I don't know. Other than that, how about you?
Yeah, I heard about that show too.
Yeah. See, I mean, I'm sure. I think our listeners have heard about it too. I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah, I didn't have. I mean, it was an alright week.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the movie. Didn't go to the theater. Did I go to the theater? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I didn't go to the theater, but what have I been watching? I started I say rewatch, but it's not really a rewatch. I started watching Walking Dead again. I have not watched the whole series. I am in episode. God damn it. I am in season 9. That thing. Yeah, I'm in season 9. And I guess there's like 11 seasons, but yeah. So I have this habit of like, I'll start watching it and then I'll stop. But
we watched that show pretty religiously until they got to Negan, and we watched it for quite a few episodes, and then when they got to the part where Glenn and the hell was his name, the army guy, his name escapes me now, but you'll know who
Abraham.
I'm talking about. Abraham. When they killed Abraham and Glenn, we kind of stopped watching, man. We just kind of after that we were just like, all right, I'm done. I understand the whole dramatic effect of like killing off major characters and all that. I get it. But to be honest with you, I was just kind of like when they killed both of those two off, I was kind of like, okay.
Well, you
I
also
don't
got to
know. For some,
understand that I mean, while it's not 100% comic book accurate,
yeah.
they are trying to keep major plot points accurate. So,
Hmm.
I mean, they're dead in the comic. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
and I knew for the most part that what they were doing wasn't comic book accurate as far as the TV show was concerned. I
yeah,
kind of understood that, and that's fine. But I mean, like, the MCU isn't comic book accurate.
all right,
There's a lot of shows, Harry Potter and stuff like that. A lot of books, a lot of movies that are written from the books are not comic book accurate, and
right,
so the fact that they killed these two characters off, and I get it why he would kill Abraham because Abraham was a direct threat, but like Glenn, I was like that dude's not a threat, and I felt bad for Maggie and everything that she was going through, and so
yeah,
when they killed him off, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, I'll try to keep my interest, but after that, I was kind of like that
yeah,
dude,
that's messed up. Yeah,
yeah, I mean he the way they did that to him and then that kind of stuff, I was like, man, no way, and then yeah, I just yeah.
yeah, it was kind of messed up. It didn't really bother me all that much, though.
Yeah, I just yeah, like I said, he was one of our favorite. He was not our favorite character, but we liked the storyline between Maggie and him, and the fact that they just with them you know becoming a couple and then having a baby and then working that out and stuff like that. I would have liked to have seen that gone further, and then they just all of a sudden, boom, he's dead, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was. It
yeah,
was. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember why we stopped watching, like, because me and the wife were watching it pretty religiously for a while, and I don't remember why we stopped watching it.
yeah,
It had nothing to do with anything. We just stopped watching it. But
mm,
I picked it up, I don't know, probably like a year or two ago, and didn't
mm,
get very far at all. I mean, literally did not get very far at all because I'm still in season 9. Uh,
mm.
but yeah, I
I
am.
actually
In fact, the last episode I watched was the one. Oh, do you know about spoilers, everybody? If you've not
no,
watched it,
yeah, I kind of know what's been going on with it,
well, it's the one where Rick
so
dies.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the last episode I watched.
No, I got you.
But yeah, anyway,
I actually heard that when they said Rick, it was Rick's final episode and he died, and I kind of doubt that, but whatever. And then I watched it and I was like, yeah, I know he's not dead. And then I watched the end of it and I was like, yeah, I knew that wasn't going to happen. I mean, they said he had to step away because he wanted to take care of some family stuff and do some things with his family, so he was going to step
mhm.
away. But I knew eventually they were going to bring him back and be like, hey, all of a sudden Rick's back. Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that was the last one I watched.
yeah.
Um, who do we have in the chat so far tonight? We have Brennan,
Hmm.
Mr. Page Turners.
Brennan.
They were not.
Hey,
We've
Brennan.
got Taco Cat.
Hey, Taco.
We've got Steve Spawn. Hey, Steve.
Steve. Hey, Steve.
And we've got Joy. Welcome back.
Joy.
Where's
Who
Matt?
now I can, who, actually, he said something earlier in the chat that he said he had to go to his work dinner with his wife. So he might not be in the right away. He
That's
said he'd come in
that's
afterwards.
unacceptable.
Hey, what do you know? What do you do?
Come on, man. Where are your priorities?
Priorities.
Where are your
Priorities, man.
priorities, man?
Priorities.
Jeez.
Now
Okay.
that Joy's home, I can actually send her Ewok. She told me today that she was finally home, and
That's right.
so
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Actually, I do had, or go ahead, I'll let you finish what you're doing.
no, I had an announcement.
Oh, go ahead.
There is this. I don't know. Are they a podcast? Let me see. I guess it is a podcast. There's a podcast called Clashing Sabers. They are doing a fundraiser to put Star Wars books into classrooms.
Nice.
They have, this is what they sent me. They have some great prizes like signed books and interviews with Star Wars authors. and there is a link you can go to. I guess it's kind of like a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter, but it's called Rally Up. And let's see, I'm going to read this. Help us put Star Wars books into classrooms, bringing the magic of Star Wars into classrooms across the galaxy, or at least across the country.
We'll go with Galaxy. It's all right.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
For crying out loud, if they can have Miss Universe beauty pageants, we can have across the galaxy reading programs.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the link to this Rally Up thing in the show description. I will also put it here in the chat. Well, if it'll let me. Damn it. There we go. So there it is in the chat. 100% of your donation goes directly to purchasing and shipping books. No overhead, no admin fees, just books delivered to classrooms. Help us spread the force. Purchase entries for a chance to win any of the prizes below. One-on-one, 1 hour call with Star Wars author Mike Chen.
Oh, cool.
A signed copy of The Last Jedi Incredible Cross sections, signed by author Jason Fry. Star Wars in 100 Scenes, signed by author Jason Fry. Leia, Princess of Alderaan, signed by author Claudia Gray.
Nice.
Shadow of the Sith, signed by author Adam Christopher. Star Wars Temptation of the Force, signed by Tessa Grattan. Rise of the Red Blade, signed by Delilah S. Dawson. Cataclysm. That's a High Republic book, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Signed by Lydia King. Win a 30-minute group Zoom call with Star Wars author E.K. Johnson. Star Wars Black Spire, signed by Delilah S. Dawson. And Phasma, signed by Delilah S. Dawson.
Actually, those are two books I've heard good things about.
Yeah.
I've heard the Phasma book is very good. And the one about I think Black Spire Outpost is like, I don't know, like pre the Disney stuff. So it actually gives you a history of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they actually say it's pretty good, especially if you've been to Galaxy's Edge and you've had a chance to look around, which I've been there once and we really didn't get a chance to look around because it was at night. So
Yeah.
I got to ride the rides and check it out. And it was pretty cool. And seeing the Millennium Falcon was freaking awesome. So, and we'll probably do it again.
Star Wars in the classrooms.
If you're gonna start kids on books, why not start them with Star Wars books?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, what better way to get a kid into books?
Yeah.
Than Star Wars books.
Oh yeah, I did forget one other thing that I did over the weekend. I did another episode of the Comic Den with Spencer, who appears also not to be in the chat room. What the heck's going on tonight? Why is everybody not hanging out with us?
Apparently have these things called lives.
Oh, fuck all that. So I did another Comic Den, and we talked about our favorite independent comics. That was a lot of fun.
Very nice. Well, okay, so I had a little bit of a story, and I did do something this week. I mean, it's not huge right now. I'm hoping it develops into something huge, so I'm kind of waiting for some things to happen.
Hold that thought.
Okay, go ahead.
We have another person in the chat room. I don't think I've seen them in the chat room before. This is the Way podcast. Says I couldn't finish Leia Princess of Alderaan. I have not read that book either yet. I did like Lost Stars. I loved Lost Stars.
Hmm.
Read Catalyst before Rogue One came out. Interesting. I didn't read it until after Rogue One, but also a great book. We were planning on talking about that too, but
Hmm. I
uh,
started reading it and then I stopped because I read The Living Force because
yeah,
I
that's
heard
right.
good things.
We had
I heard
other,
good things about The Living Force, so I started reading that, and
and
yeah,
then
so I
we
stopped
read
reading
the Asajj
Catalyst.
Ventress one.
Right. Yep. And
Yeah,
then we read Assault Adventures.
yeah.
So
We
yeah,
just
we
never
kind of
got
got
back. Never got
yeah,
back to Catalyst, but
yeah, but yeah.
have you read
Hey,
Lost Stars?
no, it's on my list.
Yeah,
I need to. I was gonna finish Catalyst, and then I was gonna
that's
read Lost Stars.
Lost Stars is a good one we should talk about.
Yeah. Mhm.
Joy says apparently I apparently don't have a life tonight.
Well, you do with us,
You do with us. You hanging
and
out
you
with
just got
us.
back from vacation. There's absolutely nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Finish your story.
So anyway, something I've been trying to do for a long time with my Jedi cosplay is I've wanted to kind of take it because I know a lot of people that are probably in the chat and who deal with Star Wars have heard of the 501st and they've heard of the Rebel Legion. But if you're not familiar, I'll explain it real quick. Basically, the 501st is the Empire, where Rebel Legion is the rebels or Jedi, whichever the case may be. But they're basically a group of cosplayers who they're very strict about their costumes. They're very strict about how they about who they let in, and your
What,
costume basically
wait, are you talking about 501st?
501st and the Rebel Legion,
Rebel
both.
Legion. Rebel Legion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Rebel, both 501st and Rebel Legion. 501st is more popular because they do the Stormtroopers, they do the Empire, they do all that kind of stuff. And the 501st and the Stormtroopers have been in parades, they've been on TV. They were actually used in The Mandalorian first season when they couldn't find, they were like, how do we find all these stormtroopers? We need a buttload of stormtroopers. And they went to the 501st and they said, hey, how would you guys like to be in the movies? And so they got a bunch of these 501st cosplayers to get into the TV show of The Mandalorian, the first season. And now they were official. But so if you look it up and like I said, if you've never heard of them or if you've never like seen them, their costumes and everything that they do has to be pretty much screen accurate as far as everything from the undergarments to the to the
Yeah.
armor and everything that they do.
Weren't you? You were co-hosting when we did our episode about the costuming groups, weren't you?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I could have swore that maybe that was
I think
VJ.
we've I
No, I
think we've
can't.
talked about I think we've kind of talked about them hit or miss every once in a while. But
No,
we've
let me
never
see how
actually
far
like
back
had a
that
big
was. I could
discussion.
have swore that
Yeah.
was you, but maybe
Yeah. There's
not.
Spencer. Spencer's finally in. And
About
Ubaldo's
time,
in too.
man. What the heck?
All right. About
No,
time
I'm
you guys
kidding.
showed up. Cheese and rice. Anyway, um, so for anybody who doesn't, like I said, for anybody who doesn't know, if you get into these groups, you have to, in order to be accepted, like I said, your costume has to be like pretty much on point. It has to meet a certain set of standards that are screen accurate in most ways, in like every detail. And but once you're in with these groups, they do a lot of charity work, they do a lot of volunteering, they do a lot of like things like fundraising for different groups and things like that. They're pretty big into charity, and I mean, and they just have like excellent communities. They have people that uh I mean, and they're constantly trying to help each other with their outfits and stuff like that as well. And I mean, I know a little bit about them. I'm not really into it yet. But the cool part is that I actually ran into a woman at Star Wars Celebration Japan who was able to get me in touch with the guy who is head of or one of the heads of the 501st and the Rebel Legion. And he was able to get me in touch with basically went down the chain of command until he was able to get me into with the group that is in the local Kansas area
Nice.
of the Rebel Legion. And the cool thing is I've been kind of in touch with them. I've showed them my outfit and what I have going on, and they've been helping me with trying to make some corrections about my outfit to make sure that my outfit meets the standards. And I'm waiting on a few pieces to be done, which should be done before the end of the month. And hopefully within the month, I'll be able to I will be able to submit my Jedi cosplay to them for consideration to be accepted into the Rebel Legion, and hopefully I'll be able to be a part of that. And I'm excited because the charity work that they do, the fundraising, the things like that, I think is going to be a great thing to do. And I'm excited about just being a part of that group and being a part of, not just going to celebrations or just wearing my cosplay for weddings,
Yeah.
which I've done. I've done weddings as a Jedi, and but I'll also be able to go as, and like I said, represent the
Hmm.
Star Wars universe and represent these groups even more. And
So
I'm excited.
that episode did predate you.
Yeah.
That was with DJ.
Okay.
So it was there's a, I don't know if you've heard it, but there's a podcast called Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha.
Okay.
They've been on the show a couple of times with us. Strangely, not since you've been on the show. I don't. I'll have to talk to them and
There's
find out. I'll have to find out if they are interested in jumping on again. But yeah, we did a whole thing about like the 501st and the Rebel Legion and all that stuff. So
hmm
this is the way said that he found us because he was uploading a podcast and saw you live on your homepage. So thanks to YouTube for suggesting.
Hey, thanks for coming in, man. Thanks for sitting down
Yeah,
and listening to us
you should
and
come visit with
being a
us
part of.
sometime. My
Yeah.
podcast is in premiere mode, so I have to go. What does that mean?
Oh, he must be getting ready to do his own.
What is premiere mode? Anybody know what that is?
Yeah.
This is the way podcast. I'm
So
gonna
yeah,
do.
basically, and Bear said it. So basically, right now, I'm talking to the local garrison leaders, and they're helping me to get everything put together. And right now, they've kind of temporarily or preliminarily, kind of allowed me to get in with some of their local groups and some of their local chats on Messenger and Facebook, and hopefully within the month I'll have my outfit put together so I can, like I said, I can get it into for consideration, and I'll keep you guys updated and kind of let you know how things are going. But I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting accepted into the Rebel Legion and being a part of that excellent cosplay group. So yeah, so I'll keep you guys updated and let you know.
Hey, before you leave, can you drop a link to your podcast? Because I can't find it.
Oh,
Oh, Joy says, God damn it. Joy says, when you pre record it and release it at a specific time.
right on. Right on. Well, if you're still in there, man, good luck with it. Hopefully everything works out for
Okay.
you, and hope you have a good podcast, man. And come back and visit with us. We have a Discord too. Don't forget about our Discord.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Hey,
but
that's a
yeah,
good
like
segue into talking about our social media.
hey,
So we are all over the place on social media. What is this? Mic check. That's weird.
that was weird.
Thank you for watching. Oh, okay. We're not done yet. What was I talking about? Yeah, social media. So you can follow us at that link down there that I am going down there. And if you're listening, it's bio.link/Rebel Nerd Radio. And if you go to that link, that's going to take you here. Rebel Nerd Radio, your ultimate hub for all things nerd culture. There's all our social media links there at the top. You got your YouTube and your Instagram and your Twix and your Facebook and your TikTok, which I never do anything with. By the way, if any of you viewers out there are like TikTok experts and would be interested
Interested.
in like kind of taking that over for us, let me know. Because I don't know anything about TikTok. But we've got Blue
I'll
Sky, Threads, Discord. And speaking of Discord, we've got this bigger link to the Rebel Nerd Radio Discord. A lot of fun on there. Got a link to our merch site right there. A lot of cool new t-shirt designs.
Mhm. Baseball jerseys.
And what's that?
Baseball jerseys.
Baseball jerseys. Yep. Yep. And last but not least, you can click on here to join our Patreon. So if you have $2 a month to spare, and who doesn't, except me, you can join the Patreon and become one of our patrons. And with that, you get exclusive content, which right now we don't have any. But once we start up our Cyberpunk RPG, we will be doing that.
We still have our Star Wars RPG that has several episodes available.
Well, those are on there, but they're not. None of those are new.
No, but if you're a first time subscriber, you actually will have access to those.
That's right. That is right. If you have not subscribed to our Patreon before, they are going to be new to you. Mm-hmm. So we get that, and then we have some early access content, which right now is a mini podcast. Is it a mini podcast? Basically, a sub podcast called The Bat Cave, where my son Blue and I talk about all things Batman. So those are early access for our patrons. You can watch those before they get shot over to YouTube to the regular viewers. Right now, there is one new episode on the Patreon that has not made its way over to the YouTube. That episode is called Batman for Noobs. We basically did a episode for people who don't really know a whole lot about Batman and want to learn something about Batman. So we did a Batman 101, Batman for Noobs. That's still on the Patreon. And then on top of that, you get, if I ever remember to ship them, you get stickers. And actually, I think I'm going to wait to ship these until I get the new ones made.
The new ones are cool.
I've got some new designs that I want to make into stickers. So they will look similar to this because I'm going to order them from the same company. But I've got some new designs that regular viewers of the show have seen. I don't feel like uploading them right now. But yeah, new stickers. So I'm going to wait until I may get those made before I ship them out because I don't want to have to ship them out twice. You'll get, when you sign up, you'll get stickers. What else do they get? JD?
Let's see. Exclusive access, access to exclusive content. We'll get some stickers. We get some more subscribers. We've got specials coming up with T-shirts. We'd really love to get to 500 because we get to 500, we're gonna do a raffle for 5 T-shirts that I personally will pay for, and we will send them out to the raffle winners when we get to 500. So that's a goal that we really want to get to is 500 subscribers. And then, like I said, you get early access to some of the Batcave. You get access to our Star Wars RPG, and coming up, you will also get, and this is going to be the current one that we're going to be starting, and then there'll be another one after that, from what I hear, from what I understand from Steve, is we are going to be starting a session of Cyberpunk, which is going to be the same crew of folks that are going to be doing it, but you're going to see it's going to be a Cyberpunk campaign with completely different characters. Yeah. And then we're going to be we are in the, what is it? I guess we're in the planning, story writing stages, I guess, Steve, is what we want to call it.
Once the Cyberpunk RPG is completed, once we've ran that campaign, we are going to start up a new Star Wars campaign that takes place in a different time period. Same players, but different characters. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've been writing it, and I've been trying to not write so much because we need to concentrate on Cyberpunk. But I got some stuff written already. I think it's going to be fun.
So we've got a bunch of that stuff coming up. We really, myself and Steve, need to get on at a schedule because we started
Happy birthday,
a
Smirking Bear.
hey, happy birthday, Smirking Bear. We started a Kryptonian Chronicles. We got one episode out that we have not had a chance to rehash and get into more of it because we want to get into things like Ultimate. What is it? Ultimate Superman, I think is the one
Absolute.
we've been reading. Absolute,
Yeah.
absolute Superman. So we want to kind of get that reviewed, and then we have the movie coming out here pretty quick. So we actually want to get into that and start doing Superman stuff as well, which is going to be Patreon or going to be
Matthew.
Patreon early access, and then go into. So we do have more stuff coming out. It's just a matter of like between Steve's shifting
Scheduling.
jobs and
Yeah.
my being my being in storm season right now, things are kind of weird. And then we just got back off of vacation, so yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking
Whatever.
speaking of which, Steve, as soon as we're done, I got one other thing we need to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last thing that we have for our patrons is you get to hear your name on our show. So, without further ado, I would like to thank our current patrons Dave Brown, Kelly and Chris Olson, Justin Hensley, Charlie Kirby, Chantel Gonzalez, Matthew, Steve Spawn, Brennan, Taco Cat, and our newest patron, Brian. Thank you to all our patrons. Appreciate the time and money that you are spending to become patrons. And yeah, thank you all. Yeah, so that's it for our shameless self promotion.
We do appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of our Patreons. I mean, you guys are helping us keep the streaming services going and that sort of thing. We really do appreciate it. So it's keeping the lights on. And yes, thank you so much for being a part of it.
All right, what did you said you had something?
Oh, yes. So a little while back, we talked about quite a few of us talked about, and I know that Mari, for those of you who don't know, Frosty Britches or Darth Mari, who's been on our show several times. If you haven't had a chance to see some of the episodes with her, or if you haven't had a chance to actually watch our episode that we did a bonus episode on a Wednesday for Celebration Japan. It was my fifth celebration on 3 or 4 different continents, and it was Mari's actually very first celebration.
Yeah.
And we briefly talked about Rebel ScumCon in Texas, in Frisco,
Yeah.
Texas. And I don't know about you, Steve, but this week we actually got our tickets bought and our hotels reserved for Rebel ScumCon. So
No, I haven't because I have no money.
so we'll be there. So yeah, hopefully, Steve, you'll be able to make it. I hope that'd be cool.
I hope so.
Yeah, one of my buddies that was in Japan will be there. I think Mari was talking about coming in. I actually need to send her a message and let her know that we're going to we've already got everything set up and ready to go. And so yeah, we're looking at
Gonna be some very cool celebrity guests at Rebel Scum Con.
yes,
Katie
yes,
Sackhoff is going to be there. Bo-Katan
yes,
and Sam Witwer
yes.
and Emily Swallow, who is the armorer.
Armor.
Yeah. And then a lot of other, maybe lesser known, but still very important in the Star Wars galaxy characters. Yeah,
But part of the Star Wars galaxy, nevertheless.
absolutely.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So yeah, that'll be fun. How much were tickets?
I bought 3-day passes, and I think they were 130 a piece, I think, for 3-day passes.
Smirking Bear needs to start a Steve support fund.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Come on,
Well,
man.
I was gonna say, since we're going down there, I said if you get tickets and you get a hotel, I mean, we can always pick you up on the way. That way, you don't have to worry about spending the money on gas to drive down
That's true.
there. Mm-hmm.
All right, Smirking Bear, you need to start a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe for Steve's
Send
Rebel
Steve
Scum
to Rebel
Con.
Scum Con.
Yeah, send Steve to Rebel Scum Con.
I mean, 130 is real. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, is really not that much. I just.
Yeah, that's for 3 day passes. We didn't buy the VIP tickets and the passes because one of my buddies said he went last year and he said this is the second year for it, and he said it's really cool, it's really good, and I guess the Bunta Eve people are the ones that are kind of putting this whole thing together. So if you're in the con world or you know a lot about Star Wars cons, the Bunta Eve people are I guess pretty they're pretty cool about this kind of stuff, and so they're the ones that are putting all this together, getting everything set up. So yeah, it's like I said, it's the second year for it. It's in Frisco, Texas. So with it being that close, and I know a lot of people are going to be going, I was like, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and go.
Yeah, I want to go. I mean, it's if I didn't get to go to Celebration, I would like to go to
Yeah.
this. And
Hmm.
it's so close. I mean, it's Dallas. That's darn near my backyard.
Yeah, dang near.
Yeah.
What, about 2.5 hours from you, if even
Yeah,
that?
pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. So yep. Yep, we'll drive up on. I think we're going to drive up the day before on Thursday, and then go to all 3 days and hang out in Dallas while we're there and stuff. So
I like Dallas.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Dallas, yeah. If you haven't been to places like the aquarium and a few other places
That's
that are
nasty,
there,
Smoking Bear.
what do you say? I didn't get it. Oh God. Um, but yeah, so yeah, that's another announcement. We're going to be going to Rebel ScumCon. So there you go.
Awesome.
Yep, yep. So if any of you guys in the chat or anything like that are planning on attending, we will. I know for sure I will be there because I've already bought tickets and already reserved the hotels. So we will be there, and we'll try to get Steve talked into it. Steve can show up too, and if we get a chance and you folks are there, we'll have to all do a meetup and say hi. And
Yeah, I didn't know
talk.
Mari was thinking about going.
Yep, she was talking about going. Yep, for sure.
That's a long
She
flight for
just,
her.
she just, she well, it's better than Japan.
Well,
Um,
sure.
yeah, but she was talking about it because she wants to go meet Sam Witwer.
Of course she does.
Yeah, of course she does. Of course she does.
I mean,
Our resident Darth Maul freak, and she
yeah,
wants to meet
yeah.
Sam Witwer. I mean, go figure that one out.
I mean, yeah. I just
Yeah.
see Sam Witwer, uh, while yes, very iconic as the voice of Darth Maul.
Hmm.
For those of us that were big Star Wars nerds versus during the dark times, he was the voice of Starkiller in the
Well,
Force Unleashed.
yeah,
In the Force
he was
Unleashed
actually
video game.
the voice, and I think he did the mocap for like the acting parts of it.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think he did the mocap for the Force Unleashed Starkiller character, Galen Merrick, is it?
Yeah, Galen Merrick. That's right.
Yeah, Galen Merrick, and yeah, yeah, he was doing that before he did, and he actually does like that, and he does a really good Palpatine too.
Yeah,
If you
he's
haven't heard
done.
his Palpatine imitation, he does a really good one.
Yeah, that's right, Smirking Bear. He is actually a big Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's done a lot of stuff outside of Star Wars that's pretty big too. He was in the TV show Smallville.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind meeting him.
Hmm.
Be cool.
Yep, and with that new and with that new with that new show coming out that he's got, that's gonna be pretty cool. I think that's gonna be a pretty neat animated series. So
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
yeah. Hmm.
Looking forward to that.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Well, now we're going to do something that we often like to do
Mm.
called Showing Our
Show your
Thingies.
thingies.
We're about to whip it out. Well, JD is. I don't have anything to show tonight.
What the hell?
Well, like, what am I going to buy? And with what money? I could show you all again, like what JD got me. You know what?
Apparently,
It's a new month, so I could show you the new cat balls for May.
hey. Apparently, I need to go through more of my collection and send it to you.
So it has changed from April to May. So here's this month's cat balls.
Oh God.
Really showing thingies, huh?
It gives this is a whole new level of showing your thingy
Whole
when
new
you're
level of showing off thingies.
when you're showing cat balls. It's a whole new level.
Heck yeah. I got a new Star Wars Insider like a couple weeks ago. Never
That's cool.
bothered showing that, but
Yeah, that's cool. Well, for my like my T-shirts that I got from Japan, if you guys hadn't noticed, I'm kind of wearing one of them. This is the one from actually Heroes and Villains. They were doing a celebration special, and I don't know if I can kind of show it, but it's kind of Darth Vader in samurai armor, and then stormtroopers in samurai armor, and then Japanese writing on it. So it was kind of a show special for from Heroes and Villains. So that was pretty cool. I picked up one for me, and then I picked up one for the girlfriend that was C3PO and R2D2 in like classic traditional Japanese dress, if you will, which is pretty cool. So, but yeah, so there's one of my T-shirts that I got. Pretty darn cool. The jet I saw while we were there, we saw a bunch of like statues and maquettes and things that people did that had to do with Darth Vader in like samurai armor or Jedi in samurai armor and stuff like that. And they were freaking phenomenal, like statues and things. So having something like this with the design on it, that was even better. So that I thought was pretty cool. Um, the other thing I wanted to show was one of the actual pieces that, and some of you might have seen this on the Black Series, but website, and it was available for purchase. But the thing about the difference is that the one that you got in Japan had primarily Japanese writing as opposed to the normal Black Series writing, and some of the paint scheme on this one is a little different than the one you got from Amazon. So I wanted to show this tonight. This is one of the pieces. I say pieces. This is one of the pieces that I really wanted to get from Star Wars Celebration, and I was actually able to get it because my girlfriend stood in line for over an hour to actually get one of them. So, which was pretty cool. So this is the Ronin,
oh, very nice.
the Black Series Ronin, and you can see down in the corner now on the normal Black Series one that you got from Amazon, it did not have the Japanese writing on it. And then if you notice, like if I can hold this without dropping it. Like if you notice right through here, some of the paint scheme, and through here and up here, there's a little bit more detail on the paint on the mural on this particular one than there was on the Amazon one. And so yeah, so this is how you know you got it from exclusively from Japan rather than just getting it from Amazon, which is it actually has the Japanese writing on it, which is awesome. And then I'll just take the thing off the bottom here. And then when you let's see if I can get it to open up. When you open it up, you actually get the figures. If I can show it right. Here we go. There's the figures on the inside. And then you get a whole mural on both sides on the inside of it.
That is
Like that.
awesome.
Like that. And then so yeah. And that, like I said, this is the Black Series Ronin figures that I got from there. And it's the Ronin and R5D56 is what it is. And then
It's very cool.
you can kind of see the back a little bit,
Yep.
a little bit of painting on the side there. But yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that's something I really wanted to make sure I get because I've been a Black Series collector since they started, and I've got a lot of like the San Diego Comic Con exclusives and stuff like that. And
I just have
I've yeah.
Good.
But I've got a lot of the Black Series stuff, and this being exclusive to there, I was actually kind of worried that I wouldn't be able to pick it up because of the way the lines were and stuff like and things of that nature. But I was actually able to get a hold of it, and I was actually able to bring one back. And when I shipped it back, it didn't get damaged, which is awesome.
I only
So,
have I only have 5 of the Black Series figures. I don't, for anybody who has not seen the episodes where I've shown those off,
mhm,
I've got this one, the Dr. Afra Black figure.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
so you can't actually see the figure because I haven't opened it up, and I'm not going to. This is the only one that's not on my wall because I haven't figured out how to get it up on the wall yet.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I just came up with an idea. I don't know if it'll work, but
Well, the other thing I was going to tell you
it
too,
could.
Steve, is if you want to display stuff like that, Etsy is your friend. They have a lot of places that do 3D like display stands and stuff for it.
Well,
And if you look up,
I was thinking I could just put a shelf up there
hmm
and stand them up. But
yep,
yeah, so I've got the Dr. Afra, I've got the Darth Revan, I've got the Saw Gerrera. I've got this guy here that I'm not going to take it down. We're going to talk about later. I've got Cassian Andor, and then I've got Black Chrysanthemum.
hmm
So I need to answer a question Smirking Bear asked. Where did it go? He wants to know if Earl has a picture in that calendar. This is not a calendar of my cats.
it's just random cats.
No, it's just okay. For those that were, I think I talked about it on the episode,
hmm
on an episode. But if you don't remember, so last year, my grandson bought me a calendar. It was a 2024 calendar, 12 months of angry cats, just different cats being angry. So 2024 was over, and he decided that I needed another cat calendar. So he picked out 12 months of cat nuts.
Angry cats to cat nuts. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, why not?
Um, Smirgamir says all of Steve's Black Series funds go to comic funds. Well, you know what? All of those funds are like no funds now. I don't think I told. I think the only person I told Spencer, but I like canceled all of my comic book subscriptions because I'm in a rough patch financially. So let's put it that way. So I had to cancel like everything. I even canceled my fan home stuff because I'm like, can't afford it, man. I got to stop spending because all my credit cards are maxed out, and it's a mess, man. I got this unemployment thing that hit me late last year is still there's still repercussions, so it's nasty.
kind of like
Anyway,
kind of like COVID
um,
now.
what's that?
Kind of like COVID now. We're still
Yeah,
feeling the repercussions.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. But yeah, I've got a few Black Series, not a lot, but then I've got a bunch of stuff back there, a lot of Funkos. But yeah, Joy says I only have the Last Jedi Rey and Kylo Black Series figures, and I'll probably try to sell them. Why's that? Why do you want to sell them?
Keep them. Take them
Why
out of
would
the
you want to
box.
sell them?
Display them. Take them out of the box and display them. That's what I don't do. That's probably something I should do, but I just don't have the room to do it. I really don't.
Yeah, I
And
don't
I
know.
was, I was there for a while. I was a Black Series completionist, and then I stopped because there's no way. But I mean, obviously, you can tell that. I mean, I still collect the helmets and lightsabers, and
Well,
because all of
I've
these over here are like black. Some of these are Black Series. Some of these are from Galaxy's Edge, and some of them are my own making. So
I've
yeah.
got one on my I've got one on my Amazon wish list. I have a Black Series Luthen Rail on there.
I think I got him. I think I actually
So,
have him sitting maybe.
so maybe
Yeah.
I might get that one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, it is $13.
Mm.
So not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah. Well, and I know this for collectors, for people who are looking at those different things. Black Series, and it might change because now that, like, obviously with tariff situations and things going on overseas and things like that, things are kind of coming to hopefully a close. And but they were talking about raising the prices of Black Series figures, the 6-inch figures, or actually across the board, they were going to raise all the prices. And I'll be honest
Mhm.
with you, even me, I'm looking at it going, yeah, I don't need Black Series figures that bad. So if
I
I
like them. They're kind of cool.
Oh, they're a great line. The Black Series is a great line of figures to collect. It really is, and a lot of their special editions, kind of like the Ronin that I got from Japan and stuff like that. That's stuff that I will actually splurge for because they put a lot of effort into these and they put extra paint into the murals and things like that. I really like these. But as far as being a completionist and buying every figure, I don't do that anymore. I don't have the room. I'm just
Working
not
Bear
able.
likes to make scenes with them.
Yes.
What kind of
Yes, that.
scenes?
Well, yeah, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So here's one we all need. I don't know if you have this one. Wait a minute, where's it at? There we go. Okay, I don't know if you have this one, but there's
Yeah,
a
no, I don't have that one yet. I need to get. I do need to get
you don't
that one.
have the Mon Mothma one. Okay,
I don't have my Mothra
uh,
yet. I need to get that one.
and if you don't have that one, you should have the. I bet you have this one. You got to have this one. Hold on, wait, get the picture up. There we go. Uh, there we go. I know you got that one.
No, I don't have that one either.
What, you don't have Deidre?
I don't have Didra. I do not have Didra. I don't think I have
See,
any of them. I think I have like an old Cassian, and I think because I have like the Rogue One figures,
hey,
so
this
I
is the
have
way
like,
is back.
oh, hey.
Hey, can you post your link in YouTube here so we can share you with the world? Uh, Joy says, "Does she have kung fu grip?
Kung Fu Griff. Yeah.
Does she come with the gimp mask?" Um, now there you go, Smirking Bear.
Well,
If you had one of
well,
her and one of Cyril, you could really make some scenes.
oh God. We'll talk about that later. We'll get into that, which means we probably ought to segue it.
Shut off the lights. No. Okay. So that's it for showing our thingies.
Mhm.
Um, unless you had something else you wanted to show off.
Nope, that's it.
No, that it. Okay.
That's it. There'll be more to come, but you got to tune into extra episodes so you can see the next one.
See,
So,
that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking, Smirking Bear. When's the Black Series going to release a gimped out Cyril?
oh God, I don't know. After these last couple episodes, I don't know about the GIMP part.
So there's the link right there to the This Is the Way podcast. And I am also going to put it in the show description. This is the Way podcast. Yeah, I do everything while we're on the thing because otherwise I'll forget. So this is the way. If you are not already a part of our Discord, you should jump in there. A lot of fun.
And speaking of which, he just posted something in the chat too. He said he got the Death Star popcorn bucket from Disney World the other day. I would love to have one of those. I
I
honestly hope.
I want a I
I
want a Death
want
Star.
the Death Star popcorn bucket. I really do.
I want
They
the Death
actually have
Star popcorn bucket.
on the Disney store. They actually have an R2D2 one that lights up too. That's a popcorn bucket. So I'm not gonna
So
lie. I'm yeah.
there is a Star Wars Death Star popcorn maker that you can buy.
Well, there's also an R2D2 one, which I have. It's right over
That's
there.
true. That's true.
I have an R2D2 popcorn maker.
Okay, so if you don't want to go to the bio link, um, I'm going to post. There's the link to our Discord there in the chat. Yeah, I want a Death Star popcorn bucket.
I wanted to start a popcorn bucket too. I got a
Man.
guy that
You
goes
know,
to. I got a guy that goes to Disney World or Disneyland in California all the time and picks up stuff for me. I might have to hit him up and be like, dude, hook me up.
so this is the way it was just talking about. He should have gotten two and given one away as a prize. Speaking of prizes, we still need to do a raffle for this thing.
Oh yeah, for the Hawaiian
This
T-shirt.
Star Wars Hawaiian shirt. It does have,
Heck yeah.
if I remember correctly, it does have a Death Star on there. Yep, it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
We need
that's
to
it.
we
I think it's time to start talking about some Andor.
talk about Andor. You mean like obsess over it?
Maybe JD should do a collections display stream one day. I keep saying we need to do that for our patrons.
I could do
We should
that.
do that.
I could do a display because I got stuff that I could tell stories about. I could do, and I could buy. I mean, I don't have a rig for it, but I could buy a rig for it, and then I could probably
I
talk
mean,
my girlfriend into actually filming me as I show everybody my collection that I have and going through everything. So we could
yeah,
do
I
something
have a
like that.
much smaller display than JD, but I can do a stream too.
Yeah,
Um,
this is one wall. I still
yeah.
have a room with obviously four walls and then a closet with three walls that have stuff on it. So it would be probably be a pretty lengthy video. And I can have Steve in the background asking questions while we're going through it. So yeah, it would be all
Can
right.
I have that one? Can I have that one? Can I
Yeah,
have
can I
that
have
one?
that? Can I have that? Can I have that? Can I have that? Are
Okay.
you gonna sell that? Are you gonna sell that? Are you gonna sell that?
All right, Andor.
Yes.
Episode 7, 8, and 9. What a wild ride that was. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's why you said when you said we're going to talk about Andor, are we going to talk about it or are we going to be like, holy crap?
We're going to holy crap over it.
We're going to holy crap over it.
I
And
figured, okay,
please,
so let's start off with a very quick synopsis of each episode. Very quick synopsis.
yes.
Episode 7 was called The Messenger. And this is 1 year later. They are in 2 BBY now. They're in, starts off on Yavin 4. Awesome planet. Very iconic planet. And not just for canon. Like,
If
obviously
you
it's
know,
very iconic for original trilogy, but even in legends and comic books, it's an iconic planet. It's Yavin 4. So I'm geeking out over Yavin 4. Like, ever since it first showed that he was on Yavin 4, like 2 weeks ago, I geeked out even then. I was like, holy crap. Anyway, so they're on Yavin 4, and Willman shows up from wherever the hell he was, and he is talking about how Deidre is on Gorman, and he wants Cassian to go kill her. Cassian finally agrees, goes to Gorman with Willman, but before all that happens, there's this apparently Andor has gotten hurt. He got shot, from what I gathered. And Bix convinces him to see this force healer. So he thinks she's a sham, and it's like one of those, kind of like how a lot of people feel toward like palm readers and fortune tellers and stuff like that. He's just like, no, it's not even real. So he goes to her. Anyway, so the force healer, after Cassian leaves, Bix talks to the force healer and gets this impression that Cassian is very important to the rebellion. And we'll know about that much later. Anyway, so we get screwed over to Gorman, and Deidre's a little irritated because this military leader is kind of taken over.
Mm-hmm.
And Cyril is a little irritated too, and that's pretty much into that episode.
Mm-hmm.
But then now, okay, what I was telling you, what I was saying before, and we'll get to that later. And I'll talk about that later. Okay, episode 8 is titled "Who Are You?" Takes place pretty much entirely on Gorman.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the Empire in there closing off exits and basically setting up things for a riot that's potentially going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Cyril is like just
Freaking out, weirding out.
Horrified. He's just horrified with what's going on, and he like goes in. Is this the episode where he like goes in and chokes her?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yep.
So like the shoe's on the other foot. He's not the gimp this time. And then so that he leaves, and then there's a argument, shouting match, whatever, between the rebels and the Gorman rebels and the Empire there, and there's a bunch of protesters, and then all hell breaks loose. And then there's this fight. It's just action packed. It's crazy. There's chaos everywhere. Cyril squares off with Cassian because he sees Cassian from like across the way, and he's like, "That dude, it's him!" So he goes over, and then something happens to Cyril. And then the Empire.
Spoiler alert, people! We had a death of a major character. Just saying.
So the Empire, during all the stuff that's going on, amidst all the chaos, the Empire has deployed a bunch of these KX security guards.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that are freaking terrifying, by the way.
Yeah, they're very terrifying.
They're terrifying.
Then, one of them is about to take out some of our heroes, and it gets incapacitated with an armored transport because this dude.
You mean
cut, basically?
You mean cut in half.
Cassian leaves Gorman, but before he leaves Gorman, he picks up this droid, who is a very familiar looking droid. It's one of the KX security droids. Puts it in the transport, flies off, and then that episode ends with there's a news broadcast going out all across the galaxy, and Deidre and Cyril's mom are both like just inconsolable.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move on to episode 9, which is the aftermath of this massacre. This episode takes place primarily on Coruscant. There are some scenes on Yavin 4, but it's primarily on Coruscant because Luthen basically convinces Cassian to, for lack of a better term, he's going to rescue Mon Mothma, because Mon Mothma is about to deliver this speech that's going to get her in trouble, and he knows that the people who are assigned to rescue her and take her away are spies. They're ISB plants. And so he's like, you got to get to her before they do. And she goes up, and we see a lot more of the new Bail Organa. New as a new actor. And then Mothma delivers her speech and basically blasts the Emperor. and she leaves, and Cassian helps her escape. And they all escaped to the safe house. And then he's told that somebody else is going to take her to Yavin, so you can go away. So Avon, Cassian has decided that he's going to leave the rebellion. He's all done. He's done, and he's like talking to Bix, like, we're going to make. And wakes up the next morning. Bix has left. She's like, I don't want to be the reason that you leave the rebellion, so I'm leaving. So he's a little distraught, but he gets to the base, and the technicians have said, okay, we reprogrammed this droid. You ready for us to turn them on? And they turn them on, and that's how the episode ends. And that is the end of our arc. So, without further ado, our discussion. General thoughts on the overall arc.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this a little bit before we went live.
I know.
This thing, oh my gosh, it was
number one,
freaking amazing.
I mean, it was. It's insane. The now, like I said, when we talked about this kind of little bit before the show, I actually forgot about what happened in episode 7. Because when 8 and 9 hit, I was like glued. And everything that was going on, everything that was happening, and all of just the sequence of everything going on was just insanity. And it was just so good between Cyril's arc, Deidre freaking out, Cassian just being there and being a part of it, and being he was supposed to be the trigger man for an assassination, and he ended up getting caught in the chaos. We see the KX.
Never gets to do
He never gets to complete his mission, but him being there is like a pivotal part of the whole thing.
Right.
And then on top of it, we get to hear where he got the phrase "rebellions are built on hope."
Yeah. That was one of those moments where you're watching it and you're like, he said the thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was so cool. And it was the doorman of a hotel that said it to him, and then that guy, I'm assuming that guy sacrifices himself to blow up a bunch of stormtroopers, which was freaking crazy. I would say he pretty much sacrificed himself on that whole deal.
He's dead.
He's dead.
But and before you continue, going back to season, God damn it, episode 7. What I was saying earlier before we went live, I wouldn't say that it was a filler episode, but I can understand why you would forget what happened, because it wasn't, because of the impact that 8 and 9 had. 7 just kind of got lost in those 3 episodes. But they were really good. It was really good as setup. To the other 2. But okay.
Well, and I think that like you said, that kind of set up things, and because I kind of feel like that with the Force Healer, Cassian was kind of having a more aggressive Han Solo moment, where he's like, I don't believe in all these tricks and not all these, fancy hokum and all that kind of stuff. He didn't believe in any of it. And you got to think that a lot of these younger people in this storyline were not around during the peak of the Jedi. So, I mean, if they just seen who the Jedi were and what the Jedi did and how they used the Force, it might have been a little different. But somebody like him did not grow up in that theater. He did not see that kind of thing happening. So to hear about it, or to see someone like that who had those abilities, he was very skeptical about what she could do. And but it was something that Bix believed in, and that's kind of where the difference in the personality between them kind of came up. And and it set up Cyril's deal, with him in the second episode, and kind of really intensified his arc and where he was going, and what was going to happen with him. Now, did I expect it to play out like that in episode 8? Hell no.
No.
But that whole
No.
episode was just holy crap.
Episode 8 was just pure chaos.
Yeah.
But
Episode
good
8 was
chaos. It was
chaos.
like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. It was 100% chaos. And then somebody said in the chat, they said that the ninth episode with Mon Mothma and the whole her speech, and then the whole trying to get her out of there, and the welcome to the rebellion and everything, and then just the expressions on her face when she
Dude,
realizes how serious
season
it's going to
9
be.
gave us this.
Yeah.
Or episode 9,
Yeah.
rather.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and she does that twice. Because
Yeah.
there's the time when they're still inside the Imperial Senate and he shoots that girl. It's like,
And Andor's just, Cassian's just being Cassian. He's doing what Cassian does. He's doing what he needs to
Cassian
do.
is doing his job.
Yeah.
He's like, I ain't messing with this. Like he's not taking any crap from these people that he's like, just get out of my way. Got a job. I need to get her to safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
the crazy part of it is that I think that kind of highlights for Mon Mothma that we knew that she's the leader of the rebellion. We know that she's the spokesperson for the rebellion. We know that she's, all the way up through episode 6 of the original trilogy, we know that she's been at the forefront and kind of the leader of the rebellion, kind of pulling the string and all that kind of stuff. But I think when she realized that, up until that point, it was all financial and it was all political. It was all pulling strings in the backdrop.
Well,
but when she saw people being killed for her and so that she could escape, I think she started to realize a whole new level of what it meant.
Yeah, well, right.
And you can kind of see that.
You're right. Because at this point, for lack of a better way to say it, the rebellion hasn't been real for her yet. Like, she hasn't had to see the shit that has to go on in the name of the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's seeing it, and it's like freaking her out. And what Joy said here, episode 8 was fantastic and chaotic and beautiful, but somehow the extraction of Mon Mothma was wild edge of seat excitement, even though the audience all knows that it has to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're like, okay, she delivers a speech, which is a fantastic speech, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got her going through, we're going through the freaking Imperial Senate building. There's Imperials everywhere.
Yeah.
So they're coming through there and they meet up face to face with the driver who they know is an ISB plant. She knows is an ISB plant. And Cassian's just like, hey, we found her. Boom. And then just like, get out of my way. And it's just crazy. Like both of those, I can't say between episode 8 and 9 that one is better than the other.
No, I think they're equally good.
Fantastic.
I think they're equally good.
Fantastic.
Well, in episode 8, well, okay, so like episode 8, we actually know now why there's so much interest in Gorman. We know what they're after now.
Yeah,
we know what's going on, and
we know what the minerals are there because they mention Erudu.
Yeah, and so we know what they're after. So we know there's something on the planet. We knew this whole time there was something on the planet, but I didn't think it had anything to do with the spiders. It was just a silk that they were woven for fashion. But there was something deeper going on, and we just didn't know what it was. And it was kind of like the prison moment. We knew they were building something for the Empire, but we didn't know what it was.
Well,
because even you and I guessed, we're like, oh, are they building like the ends of TIE fighters? Yeah. Are they building, who knows? And then it ended up being the pieces that hold the dish together for the Death Star.
Right.
And so now they're actually looking at the components for the lasers to make the weapon.
Right.
And they and now because we've talked about
everything
in the past that
leads to the Death Star.
Everything. Well, and then we kind of knew that because Krennic was involved, and where Krennic was involved, that was his passion project. We knew the Death Star was his baby. We knew that. So anything he had to do with, we knew that it was going to have something to do with the Death Star.
That's right. I pronounced the planet right. wrong, but I had the right idea. But yeah, Edu, where Galen Erso was. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was another one when he mentions that planet. That was another one of those. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, we knew something was going on. We knew they were after something. And like I said, the silk on the worms or the silk on the spiders thing kind of seemed fishy to me. So I was like, I don't understand what it is they're after with the silk. So maybe it's something else. Come to find out that, I mean, the way I interpreted it, and maybe I'm wrong, but the way I interpret it is that they've actually found kyber underneath the ground on that planet.
Possibly.
Yeah, because they were talking about stones that they needed, and so for me, I was like, they found kyber underneath the rock, underneath the surface on that planet, but they needed to get rid of the Gormans in order to strip mine the planet in order to take it away. Because if you think about what they did to Cassian's planet when we first in the very first season, they strip mined it out for minerals that they used for other things, and now they're wanting to do the same thing to this planet to get minerals, possibly. Like I said, I think what they're after is kyber on the planet.
Well, in that first, well, you're close, Joy. It's actually pronounced. I think it's actually pronounced calcite. Because Orson Krennic was talking about it in the in like either the first or the second episode. Because the whole reason that they were building the armory was because they were going to have to relocate everybody.
Yeah.
Because digging for this calcite was going to destabilize the planet.
Mm.
So yeah, it was they wanted this calcite because Krennic was saying it's for his clean energy project when really it was for
Yeah.
the reactor lenses.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For the Death Star. So everything, like I said, everything comes back to the Death Star.
Everything leads back to the Death Star. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing. When
You
probably.
know what? That's a good point that you make. It could be. He says that it could be the name could just be a cover.
Yeah.
Maybe that
Maybe.
could be it.
Maybe, and we might find that out by the end of this, but I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I mean, really, what we do know is that they are strip mining they want to strip mine the planet for resources that we know is going to the Death Star. Now,
Okay.
maybe we'll see that in this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
In the last episode, maybe. I'm not sure.
Quick squirrel moment. Everybody take a drink.
Oh God.
Because you can blame this is the way. Talking about the Rogue One 10th anniversary. So
Mm-hmm.
freaking excited for that. 10th anniversary is next year. Can you believe that it's been out for 10 years?
No, because I saw that. I actually saw that earlier when they said Rogue One came out in 2016. I was like, no freaking way, dude.
Yeah.
There's
10-year
no way that
anniversary.
came out 10 years.
Dude, you and I need to make a
If they do it, if they do a 10-year in theaters, yeah,
they will. They have to.
I'm sure I can convince the girlfriend to come down to Norman for a weekend. So
I mean, we have to make a big like Rebel Nerd Radio to do about that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
For those of you that are new, to this podcast, and there's a few of you out there that are. The podcast originally, like back in 2019, was called Rogue One Radio because Rogue One is the most fantastic piece of Star Wars ever. But yeah, it was called Rogue One Radio. But we had to change due to reasons that I'm not allowed to talk about.
I'm sure the people can probably guess because if you use the exact
let's
word.
just say there was some potential paperwork involved. But yeah, Smirking Bear says I'm down. Says we need a Rogue One recap after this series. Sure, I'm down.
Sure.
Have we done one? Have you and I done a Rogue One recap?
I know we've talked about it a lot. I know we've talked about Saw Gerrera. We've talked about Andor. We've talked about.
But have we
I
had
don't know that
actual?
I don't think we've actually talked about the movie itself. You might have to look that up, but I don't
It
think it's on
has
number
been on
37.
the show. We have done a Rogue One recap on this show. In
Yeah.
fact, before the first um before the first god damn it first season of Andor, we had a series, like a series of Rogue One episodes. We had one called The Heroes of Rogue One, and then we did Rogue One: The Empire. We talked about just the Empire in the movie, and then we did the politics of Rogue One, and then we did the locations of Rogue One, where we talked about all the different planets. So you might want to go search those out, Smirking Bear. But yeah, I'd be down to do another Rogue One recap.
Heck yeah.
Like we got, what do we have? We actually do have some plans. We can easily push those off. Because after this, we were supposed to do Tales of the Underworld. We could feasibly push that off a week and do a Rogue One recap.
Well, and you know what we really could do is we could do how the Andor series and the last episode ties into Rogue One and the similarities, and just kind of, you know, meld the two of them together to talk about how Andor, the entire series, affects Rogue One, and how it came, you know, and that go through those kind of goes through
Yeah,
those kind of things. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yep.
heck yeah, no, I'm always down to talk Rogue One.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Love that shit. Love that movie. Love that movie. He says he's going into lurk mode. Well, he put the little ones to bed. Oh, okay. Well,
Yep. Gotcha, buddy. Gotcha, buddy.
Skywalkers plus hallways equals death for everyone.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Just wait till the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
The hallway seems to
where
be
were
the-
we? Where were we?
Where-
We were talking about Andor.
Yeah.
So we did mention that this story arc of Andor gave the show its first major or main, would we say, character death. Like, we've had some deaths, and they've been rough.
Yeah.
This has been rough, but this is the first time we've had a character that was more or less like a main character of the show die. Of course, we're talking about Cyril, and the way he dies is just so like, goddamn. I mean, that was like, shit.
I mean, obviously, we know how that was going to play out, because Cassian obviously doesn't die.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked about this before. Like, I expect half of these characters to be gone by the time this series concludes.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because obviously none of them in Rogue One, but that's
Except for
not.
Bix.
That's now. I'll get into that. I got an opinion on that, and
Okay. We are going to have a discussion here in a few minutes about predictions for the last story arc. So
yes, and that I do want to talk about, and remind me to talk about Bix, because I have yeah, we'll come back to that.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
But I mean, obviously they're not in Rogue One, and that may not be necessarily. I mean, obviously that's because of when Rogue One was made. These characters were not in the discussion at the time. So that's the crazy thing about going through and doing like a prequel, is you have to plan for the fact that those characters are not going to be from the original movie. And that, I mean, that holds true for, like, from the original trilogy to the prequels, from the original trilogy prequels to the sequels, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. But I still have to expect a lot of these characters to meet their demise, and it's unfortunate. But that would be kind of in the spirit of Rogue One, if you think about it. Because what happens at the end of Rogue One, most of the main characters from that and the Battle of Scarif, they all meet their demise. They all pass away.
They're all dead. They all die.
Yeah, they all die. So I mean, that would be in the spirit of it. So I'm interested to see how this 3-part next arc will go that we're going to see in about half an hour or so.
Cyril was
Uh,
another unceremonious death in the show. He was so in the dark of the real situation. Yeah,
oh, and 100%. And you
he was
don't actually
clueless.
see that. You don't see that come full circle until Cassian goes, "Who are you?"
Yeah,
That's when he realizes that he has been wrong. I mean, he realizes he's been wrong when he finds out Didra has been using him and not giving him all the information, that he's just been a pawn.
no, he was pissed. I mean, he's choking her. It's like,
Oh yeah, he was pissed. But
man,
I think that scene kind of ends the debate of how she actually felt. She was using him, but I think she actually still did care for him
she
in a
did
way.
have some feelings. I mean, they
Yeah.
show that clearly at the end of episode 8
Yeah,
because she is
because
distraught.
well, even after he goes after her and chokes her and says, "What have you done? What are you doing? What the hell's going on?" She still says, "There's a chance for us. There's a chance for us to go home. There's a chance for us to be together." Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I still think that she had somewhat of a feeling for him. She had somewhat of a.
somewhat. Yeah,
She still cared for him, and she still saw it as a relationship.
but I
But
mean,
I think by the end of that episode, she figured out that not only did she make a bad choice when it came to the Empire and what was really going on, she also realized that she lost someone she cared about as a result.
oh yeah, she was broken up about that
Oh, I
when
mean, yeah. And her as an actress, I got to give it up to her, dude. She was the actor, the people that they have that they put in place to play the characters in these movies. I don't even know if they knew like Diego Luna how good he would be when this stuff came up, but it's just been the actors in this movie with their showing their emotion with going through the rounds and everything. I'm thoroughly impressed.
dude, this I'm telling you,
It's
man, this
crazy.
show is like a 10 on all
Yeah.
levels. The acting,
Well, and
the writing, the action. It's
and going like you said, going back to 2016 when Rogue One came out, and you seen how seamless the show was, where the movie went through, it did these things, it basically went off of one phrase that Princess Leia made, or that was in the original crawl, and you get this like peak Disney Star Wars movie, and then to come back and make a series about it, and it be to the scale that it has become is just it's crazy.
yeah,
It's crazy. And honestly, it overall it sends it to me, Andor and Rogue One sets the benchmark for everything else that Disney did and is going to do.
absolutely.
And if they don't recognize that this is what I'm not even saying like that it needs to be uh adult only content,
Right.
because we
It doesn't
100%
have
this
to
is
be.
adult. We've said this is adult only content, but it got even worse because we get a cuss word, we get
Yeah,
like a serious slaughter of people. I mean, this show is definitely
I mean,
not
yeah.
something.
Give us our adult Star Wars. Throw in some Ewok shows. Come on. Uh,
Yeah, but I mean, they need to look at how this show was brought on, and they can make some modifications to make it to where it could be kid friendly, or it could be engaging for kids or something to that effect. But I mean, the ratings on this show, the amount of viewers and things like that, it's become insane.
speaking of
And
adult, some sort of adult content, not really adult content because we don't actually see anything happen. But
right,
Willman's kind of a hoe.
who?
Willman going from woman to woman, and
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah.
um, oh, another thing we get in this story arc is the return of a beloved character that will make it through this TV show.
Hmm.
We know he'll make it through the TV show.
Yeah. Yep.
This
But
is the guy that
he's not the only one though.
Andor, well, right, the general.
The
Um,
general, yeah.
but Andor met this guy in prison,
Yep.
and here he is showing up on Yavin 4, and
And apparently he was on Gorman too, because he's the one that had he had the blaster.
that's right. That's right, he
Yeah,
did.
because she asked whose weapon that was, and he said it was his, and it was showed up as being a Gorman. I think the Gorman symbol or something was on there,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, it's mine." So he's been around. That
You're
dude's been
right,
kind of in the
Joy. He
background.
does.
Yeah, yeah.
He's, um, with freaking bear.
Woman planning his seat all over the galaxy. Well, yeah, you know.
There was a quote. There was a statement made in the chat earlier. I can't find it now. I was too far back. Somebody said that they were sad that Saul Guerrera did not get any scenes in this arc. I feel you, man.
Yeah.
I feel you. No Saul
Yeah.
Guerrera. Okay.
Yep.
So next, well, tonight, last week, last 3 episodes.
Last 3 episodes, episodes 10, 11, and 12.
Predictions. Do they find, or does B2 show up again? Or have we seen the last of B2?
I think we've seen the last of B2.
That is sad.
Unfortunately, which is sad. I think it's sad, but I think there was a
Talk about an unceremonious end.
talk about it really was an unceremonious end. But I think that kind of hinted towards they were going to leave him there and he was going to be all right, and they were just going to leave him on that planet because it was the safest place for him. Yeah, but I mean, everything that they had going on, and they had to find a way to leave him out because there wasn't going to be a way to work him back into to be a significant part of the storyline. But I mean, he's still a droid. He's still beloved. I mean, we still like him. I mean, you know, but no, I don't think we're going to see B2 again.
Well,
that's just my prediction.
That is terrible news. I'm
not saying we won't. I'm just saying that's my prediction. I don't think we will see him.
Let's just have a moment of silence for B2. Okay, that's enough.
But
I just had a moment.
Like as far as these 3 episodes is concerned, like I said, my prediction is we're going to see a lot of major character deaths from Andor series. Not obviously we know who survives.
Yeah,
I mean,
Andor
we know
survives,
who goes
on. Milchie survives. Mon Mothma survives. Bail Organa survives.
Yep.
The general, forgot his freaking name.
The general, I did too. He obviously we know he survives.
There are a lot of survivors, but
there are a lot of survivors.
Orson Krennic will survive.
Obviously, yeah. And I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I don't know if we will see him again either.
I know, right, Bear? Come on, man.
Poor B2.
All he ever wanted to do was just hang out with Cassian.
Yeah, but Cassian moved on to other things, and obviously we know that. But they did obviously too. They did say that when season 2 concluded, and then the entirety of Andor, the series from 1 to 2 to Rogue One, they did state, and I heard this when at the panel in Japan, they did say that when you watch Rogue One, you will look at Rogue One in a different way.
Well, I also heard that it's going to be a seamless thing. Like, as soon as this show ends, Rogue One picks up.
Yeah, which is something else I've also heard. And I think that'll be kind of a cool way to do if we decide to do an episode, which you've said we're going to do an episode on Rogue One and how it fits into Andor and stuff like that, and a kind of a review. It'll be cool to kind of see how those characters from season 1 and 2 play out, and then Rogue One happens, because we'll probably look at Rogue One much differently, and could even potentially look at it from a light of it's even cooler now because of the fact that we're getting a bigger, heavier backstory on these characters.
You know what, Taco Cat? I actually forgot about that comic book. I forgot that even existed. Hang on, I'm going to show you as soon as I get it uploaded here, I'm going to show you the cover of this comic book that he is talking to me about in fucking Discord. So I I forgot about this, and I don't even think I've
Hmm.
read it, which is horrifying to think of.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so what do you think is going to happen to Deidre?
Um, I am guessing, and this is just like I said, it's just pure speculation. Deidre, obviously we know that she found out. I mean, I'm assuming she found out Cassian was dead because this is going to be several years, or not Cassian is dead. That she found out Cyril died
Mhm.
in the Gorman massacre. I have a feeling that between coupled with the fact that she didn't realize the extent of the Empire's desire and what they were actually going after over on Gorman. I'm assuming that her position and how she feels about the Empire and that kind of thing has changed. And I'm assuming that I mean, I don't know to what extent, but I'm guessing that she will end up doing something that will obviously, I think, will cost her life, but I think it'll end up having to do something with that security, the ISB leader that she's been communicating with the whole time.
Yeah.
I think something is going to transpire between the two of them that's going to wind up with both of them not making it out alive. That's my guess on that prediction is that she's going to go in and she's actually going to try to she's going to actually do something that's just going to be completely, not having anything to do with the rebels or have to do with the rebellion at all. She's just going to end up doing something that's going to be pretty dramatic, having to
So
do with both of them.
so you don't think it's possible that she's going to turn?
I do, but I don't think it's going to be for the rebel cause. I think it's going to be for her own, to accomplish her own ends, and I think it's going to be because she feels like she was betrayed and she lost her lover. I think she's going to end up just kind of
Her
almost like a,
lover.
yeah. I think it's going to be kind of like she's going to go insane kind of moment, and then she's going to do something. She's going to do something personally that's going to damage the ISB on her own. I don't think she's going to like go to the rebellion and be part of the rebellion or anything like that. I
Okay.
think she's actually going to do something on her own that's going to cause the, like her own kind of terrorist attack from her own personal space against the ISB. I think that's what's going to end up happening.
Okay. That's fair.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so you said you had something to discuss regarding Bix.
Okay, so we know that she leaves. And if her, by the time the events of Rogue One happen, if her and Cassian, if in this arc tonight, 10, 11, and 12, they don't see each other again, and we don't see Bix turn back up again, I know this is kind of a long shot, but I would love to see this happen. And I would love, if they did happen, I would like to see it in this context. It would almost be really cool to see her in a Andor type series that just focuses on her, and it like would take place after, like, say, A New Hope, and between A New Hope and Empire, or after Empire and Return of the Jedi. But what I really love to see, and this is just a, like I said, this is a far fetched, this would be cool to see kind of thing, is that I would love to see her be the central character in a Andor type story that actually tells the events that lead up to Return of the Jedi, i.e., the phrase where Mon Mothma says many Bothans died to bring us this information. It would almost be cool to see her be in a show where they showcase those events before Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Like she resurfaces and becomes a part of that part of the rebellion and goes after, finds out there's a second Death Star and goes
Yeah.
after the second Death Star, knowing that Cassian found the plans, was trying to help the rebellion destroy the first one, and then she resurfaces when she finds out there's a second one, and she wants to try to help complete his legacy of not only getting the first one destroyed, but getting the second one destroyed. Because I think she's still got a lot of story to tell. I think there still would be a very a very good complex story to tell with her, and they can mold it into a spy thriller having to do with the Bothans and having to do with finding the location of the second Death Star and things of that nature. Between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Okay. That'd be interesting.
Like I said, it could be far-fetched. It could be far-fetched, and maybe they have other plans for her. I don't know, but that would be. I would think that since we don't see her, like I said, we don't see her in Rogue One. If we don't see her tonight, and their storyline isn't concluded tonight, there's a good chance that we could see her in new medium in the future. And so something like that carries on a Cassian style series, but in the same or in a updated timeline. Like I said, between either A New Hope or Empire and Return of the Jedi, I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at some of the predictions from the chat room.
Right on.
Deidre will either die, quit, or be imprisoned by the ISB. Okay.
Possible. Yeah.
Interesting. Deidre will help Galen in some way. Okay.
That'd be kind of cool to see a cameo from Galen. That'd be kind of neat.
Maybe Deidre will be the reason why Cassian knows where Galen is in Rogue One. Well, doesn't he find that out from the first dude he's talking to in Rogue One? I don't remember. Matthew says he needs a Perrin update. So that is an interesting topic to bring up, because at this point, Mon Mothma is fucking gone. You're not going to see her in regular society ever again. So Perrin is just like, what? Like, is he going to die? Are they going to put him in jail because he's I almost said he's her wife.
Well, I mean, not just Perrin, but her daughter too.
Joy, that's what I'm thinking. Mothma's money is going to get seized, so Perrin's going to have to be homeless. I think he's going to end up in prison. Tina just got done with work. Damn!
Holy cow! Hey, Tina. And that's something that I don't know if that's ever going to get wrapped up, because, you've got the kind of the. I don't even think they really had like a good marriage. So who knows? She may not even care what happens to him, because he was doing a lot of shady crap behind the scenes.
I hope he dies a horrible death.
But there's also her daughter.
That's right.
But during the wedding scene in the first part of the season, we did kind of see that the daughter really does not share her mom's ambitions.
Right.
So who knows? It may be one of those things where we don't. I would think we would, at least with the husband, you would get to see what happened with him. Now the daughter goes off and marries this guy, and then they fade off into obscurity. Who knows? But that could be one of those storylines that doesn't get wrapped up. And like Matt said, not everybody gets a series. That's true. We don't know. And I would hope they would wrap that up and we would figure out what happens. But
yeah,
I don't know. Because obviously, if this is a year later, or if the next episodes tonight are a year after that, then they would have heard his wife or their mom's speech, and they would know that she's now a fugitive from the Empire, and who knows how that would actually play out as far as those two are concerned, and what's actually happening with them. They may not. They may say, we don't associate with her. We always knew there was a problem. They may separate from her completely, which that would be tragic for Mon Mothma. But at the same time, they really, her husband for sure was doing shady crap behind the scenes, and her daughter was like not on board. They did not have it didn't seem like they had a good mother-daughter relationship anyway.
Well, no.
Yeah, so it could be just left to the imagination as far as where where Piran and her daughter go from here. It could be just like I said, it could be just left up to the imagination. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, they could wrap it up in tonight's deal. They maybe Piran ends up turning Imperial, and he's trying to locate her, or they're trying to get information to see where she's at. That
That
could be
actually
part of
would
what's
not
going on.
surprise me either.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if he turned rebel, or if he turned Empire and was trying to help track her down, and that's how it ends. Is he ends up in some type of demise because he's trying to find her, and she doesn't have a choice on what happens to him. And then the daughter just fades away with her husband, and that's the end of that. So
Yeah,
who knows?
exactly, Smirking Bear. Yep.
Rave party.
Rave party. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get canceled. Don't get canceled. Don't get canceled. Come on.
Cancel.
But
Oh man.
yeah.
Um. Yeah. I mean, this is like I was saying before. How are they going to? Because this story arc was just freaking fantastic. How are they going to
Yeah.
top this?
hmm Well, I know this much, and I'll say this because we were talking about collections earlier. So I'm going to say this part. I've got sitting over here. I got the C3PO head over here that talks. If I don't get a K2SO head out of this deal that has all the phrases, I'm going to be pissed. I'm just saying. I better get a K2SO head out of this. Just throwing that out there.
Well,
But yeah,
how about a K2SO Black Series?
I think there already is one of those. I don't think I have it,
No,
but
I'm
no, I might
saying,
have
do
it.
you have one?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
I think I do, and I think it's actually from Rogue One. So I think I have a K2SO from when Rogue One came out. So it's like from almost 10 years ago. So yeah, I think I have one. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I want the head. I want the talking head. That would be cool.
We are talking heads.
But I mean, really, the whole way this season has played out, the whole way that everything has been going so far, and how they've just cranked up the intensity with every set of three, every set of three in the series that have come out. I'm guessing the same thing is going to happen here. We're just going to get these intense episodes that's going to leave, that's going to end on us seeing Cassian go to the planet where he meets up with the guy. Um, kind of everybody, the pieces all getting set up for Rogue One is how this series will end. So it's just kind of up in the air where they go, because the Gorman massacre happened in this one, and then getting Mon Mothma out of the Senate and getting her to Yavin 4, obviously we know that's already happened. So now it's just up to what happens with characters like Didra, and what happens with where Cassian goes from here if we do see Binks, or not Binks,
Mix, yeah.
uh, yeah, Bix, and then there's the one gal, the redhead, it's Mon Mothma's cousin.
Val.
Um,
Isn't it
huh?
Val?
Val, yes, Val. We still have her. We don't know where she's going. She's still dealing with the trauma of losing. And I'm telling you, a lot of these main characters are going to buy it, man. I just don't know how this is going to wind up.
She ain't gonna make
Um,
it.
I really, that's my strongest prediction, is I think a lot of these characters are not going to make it. A lot of these Andor specific characters are going to go away. And I mean, we still don't know what happens to Luthen. I'd love to see that ship in a all out battle, and him
Oh
go out him go
yeah.
out like a champ. Him go out like a champ. And it'd be him and his assistant, because she plays, I mean, a pivotal role in these scenes too, where she's taking on, you can kind of see it with her letting her hair down, and like, trying to get Cassian to do stuff, and then trying to get Luthen to get back on track. And so you see her in a more pivotal role, and she's kind of, taking on that, trying to keep things, in perspective for all of them. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how her character plays out as well. Will she survive and go on to other things? It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be. I honestly, I can. I mean, like I said, the only predictions I know for sure is I think we're. Like I said, we're going to see the death of major characters. That's about the best I can do. I mean, to be honest with you,
We are, yeah. All right. Well, next week we cover the final story arc of Andor. Man, it's coming to an end already.
Ugh.
But you know what? It's although it's coming to an end, I can only imagine how it's going to end. Oh, please, Matthew, don't even. That's not even.
Oh God!
She would never have
No,
anything to
no,
do with
no,
that
no,
schmuck.
no, no, Matthew, you should know better than anybody else that Bix will end up marrying the chipmunk from Acolyte.
Oh, fuck, what is that dude's name? Was he a
It's the
chipmunk?
Basil. Basil.
Basil, yeah.
Like,
Was
yeah,
he a
she ends up
chipmunk?
marrying Basil. Come on, man. I call him a chipmunk. That's why I said it, because I call him a chipmunk. I think he looks like a
I
chipmunk.
mean, yeah. Now that you mention it, he does.
He looks like a chipmunk.
He
I don't
could.
care.
He
He looks
could
like
be
a
a
chipmunk.
chipmunk.
He looks like a chipmunk.
I'll tell you what. How about we have a battle royale with Basil versus Nut Nut.
I've been for it.
Nut Nut would take him out.
I think Nut Nut would kick his ass. Yeah, that's just me.
Nut Nut's going to kick his ass. All
Yep,
right.
Bix and Basil. Yep, there you go, Joy. Bix and Basil. There we go.
Mix and Basil. All
Yep.
right. Well, okay. So next week we're going to cover the last arc of Andor, which you
The
should be
last,
watching here in the next 8 minutes.
yep, the last probably edge of your seat cliffhanger episode, or not cliffhanger, but the edge of your seat episodes. I would
Yeah,
imagine.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I guess after that, like next week we're going to do that, and then I guess after that we'll do our Rogue One thing. And then we'll do Tales of the Underworld, and then after that we are going to start a new series about the starships of Star Wars.
Spaceships, so the different factions and starships, and
so
our favorites, and video games, and all kinds of cool stuff.
We're gonna do the ships of the Empire. We're gonna do the ships of the Rebellion. We're gonna do the ships of the Scum and Villainy. Are we gonna do a separate episode just on TIE fighters?
I mean, we could.
I think we should, because TIE fighters in and of themselves can be a very long discussion. But anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out in the chat. Thanks for the new folks coming in. Always glad to have new folks. Speaking of which, we did add another subscriber between the start of this episode and now. We are now up to 172.
Keep them coming, people. Keep them coming.
Sorry, 272.
272. Keep them coming, people.
Closer to that 500. But yep, thanks for watching. Thanks to you that are watching on the replay, and for those listening on the audio, all that cool stuff. And we'll see you next week.